Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reflections from the Prayer of Recollection. Today we are looking at Luke 15:11 through 32. This is March 6th, 2020, and we have the most wonderful, heart-wrenching story today. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. So let's read it. To illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. A man had two sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now, before you die. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him out into the fields to feed his pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him, but no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, At home, even the hired servants have enough food to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I've sinned against both heaven and you, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf that we've been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead, and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. So the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard the music and dancing in the house, and he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother's back, he was told, and your father's killed the fattened calf. We're celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, All these years I've slaved for you, and never once refused to do a single thing you told me, and in all that time you never gave me even a young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back from squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf? His father said to him, Look, dear son, you've always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead, and now he has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found. So, powerful, huh? Let's dive in. First is, let's look at 13. It says, A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money on wild living. I guess this starts to feel a little more meaningful when your kids get old enough that they can make these choices themselves. We don't have anyone who's left home yet, but our oldest is 17 and looking to go to college next year, and they're all getting old enough that they could make this decision if they wanted to, and it feels a little more real now, I guess. I think it's interesting, too, after he got hungry and starved, and it said the food that he was feeding to the pigs looked good to him, and then it says, but no one gave him anything. All those people that he had given himself and his money to, none of them cared for him. I think of our lives and Satan. I think of how Satan will take everything from us. Satan, and if we'll give him everything, he'll take it. And then what when we hit rock bottom? No one will give us anything because there's no source of life there, only death. Sorry, that's probably really loud. Okay, here we go. I love this little speech that the son rehearses. Father, I've sinned against both you and heaven, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. And I think that this is the kind of repentance that I would like to have towards God. I mean, just the sense of recognizing the true weight of my sin and how much, if it weren't for Jesus, how it would have separated me completely from him. And then this part just wrecks me. Yeah, as if I wasn't already, right? So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. Like I said, my oldest is getting ready to go to college. But what if she wasn't going to college? What if she was running away to a life of stupid choices? Not that she won't make stupid choices. I know we all do, but what if I didn't know where she was? What if she was just out, living a life of total poverty and destitution? And I get the feeling that Dad was standing on the front porch, waiting for her every day, looking down the road. Is she coming? And I imagine if it was my daughter walking down the road, and I'd look at her, and I'd say, that looks like her hair. That looks like the shape of her body. That's how she walks. Could that be her? It's so beautiful that he was waiting for that boy to come home. I think we get that. I think we can imagine if our own kids were lost. Oh my goodness, I'm such a wreck. I'm so sorry. I'm a crybaby. And then he says, for this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. Hearing this story growing up my whole life, I think that I thought that meant he was dead, meaning like dead to me, like gone. I've lost him. I don't know where he is. Dead as in just not in my life. But now I think he's talking about spiritual death, the death that we experience when we leave God and when we leave all goodness. And then it goes on and says the older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. And I just see how clearly this is the Pharisees. And then this is so interesting here as you go a little farther. And the older brother says, this son of yours. So just hold that for a minute. He's not claiming him as his brother. He's claiming him as, or naming him as, this son of yours. Right? And then comes the answer to the question I had a couple days ago on the vlog when I said, why does Jesus say that the shepherd rejoices over the lost that had come home more than those that he left that were already home? And look, it says, you've always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. I think that's where it's at. Because it's not like he needs, okay, I'm probably going to slaughter this. This is just my reflections. It's not like he needs to rejoice over us because everything he has is ours. What a level of trust to believe that everything in the universe, everything of God's is ours because God knows that what we need, he can do for us. And when the older brother says, this son of yours, it shows that he's not with the Father. He doesn't see what the Father has as his own. He doesn't see them as united in the same life force. And the Father circles back to the older brother and he says, for your brother was dead. It's like he's trying to tell his other son, this is your brother. You have a brother now. He was dead. Do you not even love him? Are you the only thing that you can see? Now I have to step back for a moment and tell you, if you have not read The Prodigal God by Timothy Keller, I cannot recommend it highly enough. First of all, I think Timothy Keller is brilliant, and that is such a wonderful book. I would say order it now from your library, from Amazon. If you do the, what's that Amazon thing, Amazon Audible, it only takes like a little over 2 hours if you do the audio version. So if you read it, it's probably even faster than that. So what are you doing tonight? Can you read this book instead? The Prodigal God. If you can't read it tonight, maybe you can read it tomorrow night. You're going to have family time? Read it with your kids. You're having friends over? Read it together. This book is so good. And I'm not going to give you all the spoilers because you're going to love it. But I am going to give you one spoiler. So if you get the book, if you're going to get the book, you don't have to listen now, just in the video, because I'm basically done. But I just have to talk about this one most amazing part. He says, in his book, he basically says, after the parable of the lost sheep, the shepherd looking for the sheep, the woman looking for the coin, and now we come to the lost brother. Who should be looking for the lost brother? And he said, I don't know how he knows this in his genius, in this culture, it would have been the older brother's job to go out and look for the lost brother. This brother, this older brother, was not a true brother. He did not fulfill the responsibility for the brother. And he said that these people, when they heard this story, they would have been asking themselves, where's the true brother? And the true brother is Jesus. So Jesus, we praise you and we thank you that you came and you found us and you carried us home on your shoulders.